Next aspect to cover is cue ball control. There were so many comments on Facebook about the cue ball control, couldn't just pick one, so let me just go ahead and explain you what I think about it, and at least how I see it helping you going from a 3 to a 4. We're going to use simply a red ball here, but before we go into what's going to happen to the red ball, let's talk about the cue ball itself and how to measure stuff around it. So as you know, a lot of time we talk about the clock system, so if you take a watch, you put it right next to your cue ball. This is exactly the same thing you're going to do. So this would be 12, 6, 3, 9, and of course you have all the numbers in between around as well, right? So this is one aspect of it. Then the next aspect is on the cue ball itself. That would be the center of your cue ball, right? Then you can do one tip below, one tip above, one tip on the left, one tip on the right. And sometimes you can go up to 2 tip or even more. Granted that, again, as a skill level 3, you don't want to go too far away from the center of your cue ball, and especially not in the side spin. We'll explain to you a little bit later why so, but at this moment, this is all you got to know. So for the rest of the cue ball, so if obviously the ball is straight in like this, we're going to talk about how to move that cue ball on that straight line, right? So one of the best shot in pool, and actually one of the most useful one, is what we call the stop shot. So stop shot is basically a tip below center, sometimes a little less. It depends your stroke. Here's what I'm going to do. There. So this is stop shot. As you can see, my cue ball stops behind the red ball that was right here, right? Now, this is a very useful shot. Makes for a very clean hit and a very clean pocketing usually. So I like to use stop shot as much as possible. Now, a lot of time, the next ball is not going to be just for a stop shot, so you're going to have to move it forward. This is where the follow shot comes in. This one I'm going to hit again on the same vertical line in the middle, but I'm going to hit top. This one I'm going to be a tip, maybe a tip and a half above the center. And what I'm going to do is scratch in the side pocket. Now that we've covered the follow, let's talk about draw. So draw, as you guessed, it's basically the same thing, but this time we're going to bring the cue ball backwards, right? So ideally on this line, same thing. I'm going to start in the vertical middle there, and then just go a tip below center. There you go, and you can see my cue ball is coming straight back to me. Now again, even though I don't necessarily want you to start playing with the side spin a lot as a skill level 3, we're going to explain you what it is. That way you have it in your skill bag here. So left spin, again, you're on this line here. You're not doing this. You're actually just moving your cue up a little bit. So you're just moving it sideways here. Here we go. So I'm a tip on the left of the cue ball here. As you can see, all it does is the cue ball spin in a way here on the left. And then if I hit this with right spin, my cue ball is simply going to spin the other way around. And I'm going to shoot it. Again, remember, it's not this. It's spot in there. There we go. So now that you have top, bottom, left, and right, the key to actually a good cue ball control is being able to combine them as much as possible. Again, we're going to use this red ball right here. And let's pretend you have a ball somewhere there for your next ball. You could hit it with just stop, like this. But as you can see, the ball is just going further. So maybe, it's not that great of a shot. You're a little too far. Now, you could have hit it with a stop shot and stayed there. Probably a better shot, right? Even if you had to come back with a draw, it would have brought you here. Now, what you could also do, sometimes there's obstacle here. We don't have to go into the details again too much in here. But let's pretend we have to hit it with a follow shot. We don't have a choice. But we know that with a follow, it's pretty hard. The ball is going to kind of want to stay there. So, however, if I did that with top left, the left spin is going to help to develop after the rail to go back into the middle of the table here. So let me show you that. And there you go. So that's how you combine all those spins to use them to advantage, to control the cue ball as much as possible for your next ball. And that's really what's going to take your game to the next level.